we will simply cover the topic of lists once again. In list, last time we discussed various things. For example, lists are one of the most versatile and commonly used data structures in Python, and they allow you to store multiple items in a single variable and can hold items of different data types. We studied four properties of lists. Lists are order, that means they maintain the same order, and items can be accessed using the index. Lists are mutable, that means list can be modified after creation. That means we can add, remove, or change items. We also saw one example. Lists are dynamic, so list can grow or shrink in size. So, for example, if you will add one element to a list will grow. If you will delete one element, so list will shrink in size. So that makes a list dynamic, and list is also heterogeneous. That means a list can store items of different data types. That also we saw yesterday. So here are some examples that we can use to remember what we studied yesterday. If we simply create a list with square brackets, empty, so it will be an empty list. And after creating an empty list, we can add elements to it, which we will see today. If you want to create a list of all integers, you can see we created a list of marks yesterday. List of all strings can also be created. A list of mixed data types can also be created, and a nested list can also be created. For example, a list which is a list of lists. Okay, so this way we can create. Now, in case of a nested list, suppose we want to access 3 with this value because it's a nested list. If you will write nested list 0, you will see the output as 1 comma 2 because at 0th position this value is there. At first position this, and at second position this value is there. So if you want to access 3 4, first you have to write 1 here. When you will write 1 here, you will see 3 comma 4. So this 3 comma 4 gives you the second element, and then you will create another square bracket. And in this square bracket, you will access the first element. So that is how you have to access the nested elements in a list. So you have to figure out its position. Then after figuring out the position, you have to access the value. Now, accessing the list can also be done from a negative index. So for example, we want to access last element of fruits list. Okay. So the index starts from positive end. It also starts from a negative end. For example, let's say this is a list. So I will just open it in Paint here to show you how the indexing in list works. So here we have fruits is equal to apple, banana, cherry. Positive index will be 0, 1, and 2. This will be positive indexing. Negative indexing will be -1, -2, -3, like this. So last element is -1. Last element has an index of -1. So that's why when we are accessing fruits -1, we are accessing cherry. if we'll write -3, so technically we should get apple. And if we'll write -4, we will get out of range. Because there is no list index out of range, there is no value at -4 position. So that is something new here, that you can either start from beginning, from 0, 1, 2, or you can also start from end, -1, -2, -3. And
Sir,
out of all the, yes,
so just a minute. When we write those apple, in this case, -1, -2, minus
minus,
too much here.
when we did -3, then it showed apple.
Oh, okay, sorry, sir. Hmm.
So basically, when we did -3, it showed apple. Okay. So I was saying, out of all the collections, data types that we have in Python, list is one of the most important and most used data type. And concept wise, it is very similar to array in other programming languages, right? Like in array, you have a lot of things. The list also has a lot of methods, which we will learn today itself. We also studied for loop. Okay. So for example, I want to create a list of all even numbers, let's say. So we can try something like en. Let's say en is a list. So we will write list range, and inside range we will write 2 to, let's say, 16. Let's say some numbers are there with a common difference of 2. So here, when you will print en, you will see that you are getting these values. Okay. Now, if you will write for I in en, so you can call it for items in en or whatever. I is just a value, print I. So what is this for loop going to do? Because list is an iterable item. So we can run a loop over it as well. It has multiple elements. So it will simply pick the number and print it. Suppose you want to add some statement like something like element is I. So it will give you output like this, element is 2, element is 4. So it will simply pick elements from your stack and start printing them one by one. So this is one important thing. Suppose we have a string. For example, name is equal to Suraj. So this will do what? This will simply print Suraj, a string value. And we say name is equal to list of Suraj or list of name. So what this will do, this will store name as a list. So you can see Suraj. So a string is also a iterable thing. In a string, it is collection of all characters without any separation. So it will just break the name like this. Okay. So you can also try this. And this time if you will write, so for example, type name, so it will tell the data type of name that it is a list. You also studied slicing of list. For example, if numbers are this, so numbers from 1 to 4 will give you 20, 30, 40, and not fourth value, which is 50. So this is something we already saw. We also saw changing an item in a list. For example, fruit is equal to apple, banana, cherry. So we write fruits 2 is equal to blueberry. Okay. What are we doing here? We are simply changing the second element 0, 1, 2. So we are saying change the value at second element and make it blueberry. So this is to test if the list is mutable. So this way you will get the output like this. Today we are going to start another important uh, you know thing about list, that is list method. So for example, if car is a class, so there can be various properties in a class, right? Color, seats, brand, mileage, and these properties may have values. Similarly, there can be methods also like start, break. These type of methods can also be there in a class. So in a similar way, list here is a class. For example, when we have created something like fruits is equal to apple, banana, cherry. So here we have created a list which is a list of all fruits that we have provided here. Okay. So this particular variable here is an object of list class. So that's why it can access many methods. So the first method that you will learn in list is append method. APPEND. So you just have to write it like this. Write the name of your list and just use dot append. Inside append, you just write name of a fruit or anything that you want to append. Append means add one element to the end of list. Okay. So it will add one element to the end of list. So this is very important. So when you will print, now you will see your new list will have one more element added to the end of list. Okay. So adds an item to the end of list. This is very important. So you have to understand this, that this is append. Similarly, if you want to add multiple items, okay, so append simply gives you one element. Let's say we have another list, okay. Let's say we have vegetables also. Just giving example. So carrot, spinach, broccoli, and we write fruits dot extend vegetables. So what we are saying here is, because vegetables is a list, so in order to add all elements of vegetable to fruits, we have to use extend. In extend, you have to add multiple items. Okay. So when you will do this, you will see now your list has apple, banana, blueberry, orange. This is from your original list, and these three elements will be added. What if we, use append here? So if you will append vegetables, this will also work, but this time you will see a different type of output. So here you can see this time the complete list is added as an element. Here the list is first extracted and all the elements of the list are added. So you have to understand the difference between append and extend. Now with append and extend, we are adding elements at end all only, right? Now suppose you want first of all, let's see what our list is. Now, suppose we don't want this element here. So there is a method called pop. So basically, when you will write a dot here, it will show you list of all the methods that you have that you can use in a list. Okay. So append, clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert. So if you will use pop, so pop removes and return at an item. So if we will use pop, so it will remove the last value. Okay. It's like pop out the last value. So when you will print fruits, you will see now you don't have the last value anymore, and it is so this last value will be deleted and it will be printed. So the output of pop is last value after removing the list. Okay, after removing it from the list. So now we have a list. Suppose we want to index some value at this position. Like in extend, we can only add it to end. In append, we can only add it to end. And luckily in these both words, the word end is here. You know. But suppose we want to insert at any particular position. So for that, you will use fruits dot, and here you will use index insert. Sorry. And in insert, you have to use, you have to tell at what position. So suppose 0, 1, 2 at second position, we have to insert a pair. So what this will do, 0, 1, 2. At this position where blueberry is, it will insert a pair. Now, what do you think? After inserting the pair, will blueberry be swapped?
No, sir.
It will just extend it, right? So here now you can see we have apple, banana, pear, blueberry. Okay. So it is just added there. So insert is not removing anything or swapping anything. It is just adding. That is important. Similarly, we have another method that is called, we have insert index. We also have a method called index. Suppose we want to find out position of any element. Okay. So for example, we write orange. So here it will tell us that orange is at fourth position, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is giving us 4. I think this is the output. Yeah. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we added pair there, that's why the confusion was there. So this index thing will tell you that its position. Now there is one more thing. Let's say we are creating a list of marks of students. Okay, and marks are like 89, 67, 56, 78, 89, 67, 45, 78. Here you can see 78 is written two times. So the first question is, will the list accept a repetitive value? So yes, in list value repetition is allowed. When we will study set, just a note that you have to remember. When we will study set, value repetition is not allowed. Basically, these four data types that we have to study, like set, dictionary, and tuple. So they all differ from each other in some way. Okay. That's why these four are created. So the difference between a list and a set, a very big difference will be set is a collection of unique values. On the other hand, list can have multiple values. Okay. So here we have written marks like this. Now, in this case, since we have repetitive values, if we will write marks dot index of the value 78, what will it tell? Yes, you said 3. So that's why the definition is it will tell you the first index. Okay. Now, if I write like index, so here we also can write a start, a stop, you know, value, then a start and a stop. So if I write 78 and a start at 3, because we know it is at 3. So then it will print something like 3. So 0, 1, 2, 3. But when I say 4, so it will tell us the next position. So whatever position you are finding, just add 1 to it and then it will tell you the next position. Okay. So you can see here. So in that, so here you can see 78 is at 7th position. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this way you can repeat values. Okay. Now there is one important thing. There are some built-in functions in Python. We have studied some and we will keep studying others. For example, one of them is print function. So these built-in functions, you know, can help us. Obviously, this can be applied on any element of Python. Why I'm telling this? These particular methods that you are studying here, like marks, dot, these methods that we are studying here, these methods are only list methods. You know, this will only apply to a list. Okay. Suppose I create another variable here. Let's say I create player is equal to Sachin. So, so when we created player is equal to Sachin and we write player dot. So here, are you seeing different set of methods? Their methods were append, extend, you know.
Hmm.
So because this is these methods are also built in, but these are for strings only. Okay, like is decimal, is alnum, is digit, is lower, is numeric. So whenever you are receiving a value from a database, let's say, so with the help of these functions, you will be able to tell is that value a lowercase, a numeric value, you know, is it's only a space, is a title, is alphabet, is alphanumeric. You know, for example, you said in order to create your password, use both alphabets and numbers, but someone has only used alphabet. So you can give them some kind of warning that, or some kind of validation message that your entered value is only a alphabet, it's not a number. So we will see these examples later. But I'm just telling you that whatever data types we will study, every data type will have a, you know, a different value. So every data type will have different methods basically. But there are some methods or functions that will apply to anything. So those are some. So if I write sum of marks, so I will get their arithmetic sum. If I write minimum of marks, so I will get minimum value. And these are all statistics based aggregate functions. So these type of functions help us in describing our data. For example, marks is our data. Okay. In marks, we have to uh, tell like how many marks are there, minimum marks, sum of marks, maximum marks. Okay. So out of these students, the person who got maximum marks has got 89. Person with minimum marks is 45. Total is 569. And there is another method called len or length. So this is length of marks is 8. Now can you tell me the average of marks based on this? You said AVG, right?
Yes.
Technically Python should create an average function, but that is not there. Let's write average. That is not there. Okay. Now there are two ways. If you already know sum of something and length of something, an average is already there, right? So you can write average is equal to sum of marks divided by length of marks. So you can use these type of operators for calculating, right? So average marks are 71.125. Do you get this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Average is calculated by adding all the values and dividing them with total number of values. Okay. So that's why in Python you can use uh, these type of functions. Now we will we will also learn how to create our own functions. So for example, def avg marks, okay, and return sum of marks divided by length of marks. So here what we are saying is we are defining our own function which we are calling it as average. We will call it as Ausat. Just to remember, we are just using the word Ausat so that you know we don't think that it belongs to Python. We are just creating our own method here, our own function Ausat, def Ausat marks. So what will happen in Ausat function if you will provide the marks value, okay, it will return the marks value. So let's define. So this is how you create your own function. Now when you will say, I want to find Ausat of 56 and 78, let's see what it does. So it will give you the average of 56 and 78. Do you get this? And in order to get an Ausat or an average, what you have to do? You have to provide a iterable value here. An iterable value is a list, so we can also tell name of that list. So it will simply return the same value. Do you get this part or not? So this is a simple way of creating a method. Obviously, creating method will require more explanation, or creating your own function will require more explanation that we will study later. But this is one simple way. Similarly, if we have to write marks dot, so you studied append. When you will write clear, so clear similarly simply removes all element from a list and makes it a empty list. Okay. Now when you will write marks, it's clear. When you will add something like marks dot append 56. So as you studied, it will simply add one value to the end. Here it was empty. So the end or the first value is the same. Okay. Now I will copy marks value here. What if we what if we say generate a list of random marks of 50 students in a class in a list. So, to for data analysis purpose, you can do this. So, what it is doing is marks is equal to random. So, first it is importing a library called random. So, in Python, for different purposes, you can use different type of modules, which we will learn. Like math module is there, pandas module is there, seaborn module, matplotlib module. So we import random and write random int 0 to 100 for I range 50 marks. Okay, it will generate some random marks for us. So you can see. So now you have a list, and suppose you want to see how the marks are distributed, just giving you from the list value. Okay. So we will import another library called from matplotlib import pyplot as plt. I know this is a long sentence to remember, but it is very easy. So there is a library called matplotlib. Just a minute. So we are just giving you a hint of what we are going to study in the data analysis part. Okay. And how list can help there. I'm just giving you that example. So here from matplotlib import pyplot as plt. So from the library matplotlib, that is MATLAB like plotting library, import python plot, call it plt. Now in plt there is a method called hist. Okay, hist stands for histogram. And if we write plt.hist marks, okay, so it will create a histogram of this, a distribution. So in this image, you will see from 0 to 100 how marks are distributed. We can see around 80 to 85, there are 7 students. So a histogram tells on x-axis, a histogram brings your range of values. Range of values are from 0 to 100, the minimum and the maximum that we just did. Yeah, we studied the minimum and maximum values. So your minimum value, it will start from your minimum value and go up to your maximum value. And these bar represents number of elements in each bin. So here the bins are created 0 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, and 80 to 100. Like in marketing, you study age group. So age group are like 18 to 24, 24 to 35, 35 to 45, something like that. So here the groups are created. Okay. So this is a simple way of plotting a graph in Python. And what we have used a list. Okay. So we will study more of this. Obviously, this is just an introduction part of this. So in the similar way, we will just finish our topic. So it is marks dot. And here, if you will write sort, sort means what? It will sort your marks in the ascending order. Okay. You can see starting from 0, we have two people who have scored 0, one who has scored 8. So it will sort the numbers from 0 and go up to highest value, which is 98. Similarly, you can write in sort uh, ascending is equal to, there is a parameter ascending is equal to false. Let's see. So just a minute. What argument does this support? So the parameter is reverse is equal to true. If you want to sort in the descending order. So this is descending order sorting of values. So if by default reverse is equal to false, okay, by default it is false. So whether you write it or ignore it, it will always give you ascending order sorting of values. Okay. But if you will write reverse is equal to true, it will sort in descending order. Similarly, we have a list called fruits. In case of fruits, we don't have numbers, but we do have alphabetical values. Okay. So if you will write fruits dot sort, so here it will sort in the alphabetical order. So you can see. And when you want to see the output, you can just print. So it will sort in the alphabetical order: apple, banana, blueberry, broccoli, carrot, orange, and so on. So this is one thing. We can also do sort dot reverse. See, reverse is not a sorting, but simply changing the orders. Okay. Like if something was at position 0, it will go to position -1. So now it is just reverse of it. So for example, if we have a list like this and we do reverse, it will simply reverse the list. And with the help of remove method, we can simply remove any value from a list. So now this value will be removed. So this way you learn how to add, remove, or change any value inside a list. And this is a simple introduction of methods in list and some more things related to list that we learned today. And in the next chapter, we will study other, values like tuple, dictionary, set, etc. So we will study them in the next class.